Hello everyone and welcome. I'm not going to tell you where we are because I'm going to let this guy do the incredible introduction to where we are right now. But I am with Dominic Jones, CEO of
the Mary Rose Trust here in Portsmouth Historic Dockyard.
Now, I was going to talk about how incredible this place is, but every time you talk about the Mary Rose, whether it be when I come and see you here or when it's at a conference or anything, you do this amazing, passionate speech about how it sank, how it was raised, how it was built, all that sort of stuff. Is that memorised? Can you do that for us?
It's not memorised. It's different every time. That's the thing about the Mary Rose. It's so magical. What blows me away, and we're here in the Mary Rose Museum. This is our wardroom. But what blows me away is that when the Mary Rose sank, the Great Wall of China was still being built. When the Mary Rose sank, the Sistine Chapel was being painted. There was a curse that wiped out the Aztecs. There was Ivan the Terrible came. I mean, this is a place in history, a time in history. It was before empire. It was the birth of the Tudor dynasty, probably the most famous historical dynasty ever. Absolutely. And the Mary Rose survived 5.5 of Henry VIII's wives. He commissioned the ship when he came on the throne. It's incredible, and it served in battles, it served in war, and it sank defending our country in the biggest battle our country's ever seen. If it wasn't for the Mary Rose and the Battle of the Solent, everyone would be speaking French, but we don't talk about that. People talk about the Spanish Armada. The French fleet was twice the size of the Spanish Armada when they'd taken the Isle of Wight. Apologies if you're from the Isle of Wight, but that was already gone. That was being burnt. And they came to invade England through Portsmouth, and England won. And the Battle of the Solent was won. Sadly, the Mary Rose sank, and, history's written by the winners, so we don't talk about it.
I mean, incredible. I mean, and there you go. I mean, the passion's already started and we're only 2 minutes in.
Biggest Tudor collection in the world. You can't get closer to everyday Tudor life than Portsmouth. I'm telling you, this city, this museum, biggest collection of everyday Tudor life in the world. You could go to Hampton Court and you'd have a great time. But the Mary Rose, 19,700 artefacts, a third are on display in the museum. It's incredible. And also, in case you're wondering, the world's biggest maritime salvation here in Portsmouth. I mean, we've got to be proud about that, right?
I mean, surely people from Portsmouth are proud of the city anyway.
Yeah,
but I feel like some of the stats you're throwing off, no one would know something like that. So absolutely incredible. We are going to get onto the Mary Rose.
Yeah.
But first of all, I want to talk about your career and how you came about being here. Because, I mean, all this stuff about the Mary Rose, did you know these things before you joined?
Well, I know more of them after joining, but I knew of the Mary Rose, and I watched it being raised on Blue Peter, where they said that it sank on its maiden voyage, which is why we have to spend every single week on TikTok and social media saying it didn't sink on its maiden voyage. It survived 5.5 its wives. So I watched that, and I knew a bit about it and came to the museum as a kid, but I never once dreamed I'd end up being CEO. It's like a dream come true. So my background has been theme parks and visitor attractions, and telling stories and storytelling. There's a guy called John Wardley who designed Nemesis, if you've ever been to Alton Towers. Great coaster. Yeah. This should be Bobby from Spinnaker. Great show, by the way. This should be her thing. So, and he said to me, Dom, it doesn't matter what you do, it's just storytelling. And that's what we do in this museum. We just happen to have an amazing story to tell. A story that involves history at one of the most crucial times of British history, that it involves a world that shapes the rest of the known world. I mean, this is incredible. The Tudors, Mary Rose, Portsmouth, you can't get any better.
And you came on board during COVID.
Well, just before. So I came to COO, and I loved it. But we were independent. We were separate. So I don't know if you remember, there were 2 separate ticket desks. There was
I do remember.
And it felt like you were, when you're on holiday. And you're always on holiday, right? So yeah, you're on holiday, and you're and everyone wants you to come to their restaurant, or everyone wants you to go to their Greek restaurant. Come here, and it was like that. We had to literally chase all the business, and so now we're together. We work on a joint venture with the National Museum of the Royal Navy and the Mary Rose Trust, where we run the attraction side of Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, and also work very closely with our landlord, Portsmouth Historic Quarter. But we run it between Edinburgh and Mary Rose as Portsmouth Historic Dockyard. And we did that after the pandemic. That was how we came out of the pandemic. And I then became CEO. And for me, it was one of those moments where I couldn't I was so scared, I'll be honest with you. I thought, I don't want to be the next man to sink the Mary Rose, but it felt like that. We didn't know who we were going to have the keys to. I mean,
scary times.
It's really scary for everyone. The pandemic was horrible for everyone, and everyone in Portsmouth especially. It was horrible. But lots of good things came out of it, like, the pupil premium thing we do, the way that we work with the local communities, how we were determined to have a lasting legacy for everything we do after our 40th anniversary and do projects that matter for the people of Portsmouth. We grew our young volunteers. People might not realise, but actually a third of our volunteers are young, and it's incredible. And what they do is they come in... we'll get on to your ambassador stuff because I love Portsmouth ambassadors and you are good at that. But it's a bit like they come, they get the work experience and they go off and then get jobs. And it's fantastic. What a great thing to do. But yeah, so I became CEO at the end of the pandemic and it was really scary. But we had this great joint venture and we had a plan and we had a dream and we had a vision. And for me, it was taking the bits from my career, so Thorpe Park, Chessington, Disney, Madame Tussauds Dungeons, Legoland, Virgin, Oakwood, and how I could bring that into the storytelling here. So we did a giant Henry VIII. So when you go 1545 and you come face to face with Henry VIII, we put that in. We step on board the Mary Rose and we sink you. And then we had this year of just celebrating 40 years of the anniversary. And then we did Dive the Mary Rose 4D. And at the same time, we won a Museum and Heritage Award for Dive the 4D and for Best Partnership with Enna Moren. So it was brilliant. I've forgotten what your question was, but my point was I love it. I love it. And but your ambassador thing, though, what I love about that. So I worked for Disney. Right, and Disney was one of the best jobs I've ever had. Bobby, there are tunnels underneath, but they don't freeze his head. But when I worked for Disney, it was the only time I really felt like I belonged somewhere, that I had this sort of sense of being part of something. And I've worked in lots of amazing, cool places where I felt part of it.
Where did that come from?
But it was just the Disney culture. But what I'm going to say is the only time I've had it since is Portsmouth and the Portsmouth ambassadors and the Shaping Portsmouth ambassadors you do, because this city's incredible. We live in such an amazing place. There's so much you can do. Yeah. This city, this Dockyard is incredible. It's the soul of a seafaring nation. 500 years of history. The Mary Rose was built here. It wasn't built here. It was built where the Victory is. The Victory wasn't built in Portsmouth, but it is associated with Portsmouth. It is the nation's flagship, and we love it. But the Mary Rose was built where the Victory is. 500 years of history. It's like the soul of this whole nation, from ships going all around the world, Australia, to the M33 to even, Brunel, Kipling, Schwarzenegger, all of them. They've all been part of this. Exactly, this city. You know it better than me. And Sussy Castle and everything, and the Model Village, great video as well. There's so many things to do. And the Portsmouth Ambassador, what I love about it, it gives you a sense of belonging, that we're all bigger than the one part, and I love it. So for me, it's that Disney feeling. And then we find out that the Eisners, who created that Disney Traditions course, are now Portsmouth Football Club. It's incredible.
Was that your doing?
No, it wasn't me. I had nothing to do with that. Nothing to do with that.
Been quite a good exclusive.
Yeah, no.
Actually, you talked about 4D experience, and actually Ross Kemp was involved with the narration.
He was, yeah.
Ross Kemp has an incredible connection with Portsmouth as well, because his grandparents actually ran the Ship and Castle pub, which is in Portsmouth International Port. And that is the only pub in Portsmouth which shares the same name with another pub which is off the same name, and the Ship and Castle, which is just outside the gates here.
It's so incredible. And he is such a nice guy. So he was doing this Shipwreck Explorers programme for Sky History, and he didn't feature the Mary Rose. What was that about? Season 1 did not feature the Mary Rose. And so it came to season 2, and we were like, you've got to feature the Mary Rose. And he said, well, I'd like to dive on the wreck site. And what people might not realise, so a fact that people might not realise, is we're still responsible for the wreck site. It was the second ever protected wreck site in the UK. The first one was in Scotland. Maybe if we got the paperwork in time, we would have been the first, but we're still responsible. So actually, we had to give him permission to film on the wreck site. And in return, he was like, well, what can I do? Because you guys have given me this amazing exclusive. We said, well, could you narrate the 4D? Because one of the things that really matters to me with the Mary Rose, and we call it our X. It was before Twitter became X. It's we believe our X factor, our USP, is we're the custodians of authenticity. Everything you see here is real, is authentic. And it's SS Great Britain, I love it in Bristol. It's fantastic, Brunel's ship. But the cow's made out of polystyrene, There are other ships where the cannons are made out of fiberglass. Mary Rose, everything you see is real, or we put clear perspex. So when we did the 4D and we had the film back, and we had actors' voices, it just didn't work. So we re-recorded it with real divers or real authentic voices of people that were involved 40 years ago with the raising, and Ross Kemp and the King, and it is incredible, and it still gives me goosebumps.
Yeah, and of course King Charles, or Prince Charles as he was then, dived as well.
He did, and one of the things that was massive for us was we thought, we've got this dive, the Mary Rose 4D, how are we going to market it? We only went and got Terence. We only got you. You're like the star of the marketing campaign. Did we pay you for that? Did we pay you?
I mean, I'll have to check.
Well, you're worth every penny. It was fantastic.
I mean, I'll do it for free anyway.
Well, there's so much you could do for free in Portsmouth. There is
loads of stuff. Not just the Mary Rose, but you are involved with so many community and voluntary projects. Pompey the community, Gilbert White's house. I think you're school governor as well. How and where do you find the time?
Well, it's a great question, and it's a real thing for me. It's really important that people should do as much as they can to give back and help. So if you're nervous about getting involved, get involved. Especially if you're we want to get as many young trustees in this industry as possible. I love the people that are doing stuff like that. We need to do more of that. But for me, Pompey in the Community is an incredible organisation. It does so much. It's so much more than football. And the stuff. If you're on LinkedIn this week, you'll have seen from the kitchen stuff to the dementia stuff to everything amazing. They're doing. It's just fantastic. And so for that one, it was a no-brainer. They were looking for people, and I wanted to do something in Portsmouth because it's really important for me. So I thought I'm going to do that. Gilbert White's was a bit more awkward. So I was sat in this room. I shouldn't be giving this away. It's probably a royal exclusive with Prince Edward. And he said, have you considered being a trustee of Gilbert White's? And so I feel like I'm there by royal approval. So I enjoy it, and it's a fantastic place, and it's a real nice independent museum. And what I like about it is it's an independent museum that really is fighting to survive, but doing it the right way, doing it through storytelling and authenticity. And because we're an independent museum, people don't know that. We don't get any government money. We don't get any local authority money. Portsmouth's got fantastic museums. Some of them are funded by the local authority, and as they should be. Thank you, Portsmouth City Council, for funding the Portsmouth museums. The MOD funds some of the NMRN with gift in kind and some funding. We are all independent. 84% of our money comes from visitor income. People buying T-shirts like this, new range, cracking.
You guys have got a great gift shop, by the way.
That's good, right? One in every £10 is this T-shirt, so you should probably buy one if you haven't got one. And we've got this really cool photo thing. We'll have to check it out later. Yeah. But so we make a lot of money for that, and then we rely on fundraising and trusts and foundations. So Gilbert White, I love that because it's independent. The school thing is important because I think you've got to give back. And I worked for Merlin and I worked for Virgin, so I worked for big corporate companies for a long time, and I loved it. But when you work for those companies, you work from when you wake up to when you go to bed. Sometimes 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning. At Thorpe Park, we ran Ministry of Sound nightclubs as well. So for me, when I left and I came to Portsmouth and to the Mary Rose, I thought I wanted to do something that gave back and taught my kids that actually life is also about giving as well as taking. So so I've forgotten the question, but hopefully we've answered it.
I think you have answered it actually. And actually, I really liked what you said there about young trustees, because I feel like young people now, it's more competitive than ever to try and get a job. So volunteering is really important, but also to have those experiences of being at a board level, actually a very different way of thinking. And
absolutely. And boards should be a cross-section of your community and your visitors. And often boards are full of very elderly people that went to Oxford or Cambridge, that went to private school and are very wealthy and don't look and feel like your public that visit. So for me, when people talk about diversity in boards, for me it's diversity including ages, it's including sexes, it's everything. It's about getting a cross-section of who visits you, and we're trying really hard to do that. I'd love to have a youth board at the Mary Rose. In fact, we should. We should do that.
I think this should be
Maybe that's a Terence thing. We're going to make that happen, right?
I think it should happen.
Yeah? Deal? We're going to make it happen?
Let's make that happen.
We'll do that. A youth board or a youth advisory group, we're going to make that happen. You heard it here first.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible the things you do here. With 4D, with Experience 1545, where did those ideas come from?
So, I mean, honestly, some of the ideas... So with the 4D, what we wanted to do was tell the story of the excavation, the finding, the raising, that story of 40 years ago, how the Mary Rose came to be here in the museum. And we had so many great ideas. At one point, we were going to hire or take a lease out on the old Mary Rose Museum where the Pirates exhibition is. It's now run by Portsmouth Historic Quarter, and they sometimes do events in there. Boathouse 5, and we were going to put a ride in there. And we had this plan, and there was going to be a ride that took you through the 80s, through a time machine, back in time, and to the raising of the Mary Rose. And that was going to cost about £6-7 million. And we realised that actually we weren't able to get that. The pandemic had hit everyone hard. It was tough. So we thought, how do we get the essence of that? And then I used to put 4D shows everywhere when I was in Merlin, but our board and our team wanted to make sure it was authentic and it wasn't theme park and cheap. So actually we did a fantastic job working with Figment, and I love it. And the 4D, and I know you're the star of the marketing, but it is authentic, it is incredible, and it tells a story. And what was great was we had some of the original divers and their families come, and they couldn't tell that it wasn't real. They were like, "That's amazing," and I was like, So it works for us. It's fantastic. Come and visit us at Portsmouth Historic Dockyard.
What I loved, I think the time when I came and visited and watched it, is it Dr. Alex?
Yeah.
Was on there as one of the divers, and having seen, because I saw some stuff about her publicly in, I can't remember what it was, it might be Portsmouth News, about the work that she was doing in the city, and then suddenly she appeared on the screen. I was like, oh wow, I didn't realise she had that impact. She was one of the divers.
She was, yeah, and she's been with us over 40 years, and she is an icon. I mean, what a lady. And I still pinch myself sometimes when I can get and ask her questions. I can say, so when you were diving, what was that like? Or what did it feel like when you found a chest and you were the first person to touch a spade? And there's a gentleman called Chris Dobbs who's just retired, but he's now emeritus curator, who's also involved, and his voice comes across, and I love it. It's one of those things that they're hopefully got a lasting legacy now at the Mary Rose, so it's brilliant. And
how do you decide where you're going to take it in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years?
Well, I think running museums, running attractions, when you run a theme park, you have to put new news in. Unfortunately, some of the stuff I did included Love Island and Walking Dead at Thorpe Park, but you've got to think about what are the new big things you can put in and what's going to tell stories differently. And when we did 4D, the Enema End did Armada maps and World Beneath the Waves, and that was fantastic. So we've got to find new ways to tell new stories. So I think we need to do that. That's one thing. The second thing is we've got groundbreaking research here, like our isotope and DNA analysis that Alex has led with the team has told us that our crew was really diverse. When you think the 6 skeletons that they've done work on, you think that they're sort of white Anglo-Saxons. They weren't. There was Venetian, there was Spanish, there was 2 North Africans, second generation, not slaves. So a real amazing story, something that's diversity, that doesn't involve slavery, and we don't have to give back to Greece. I mean, this is a real British, something we should be proud of. So we need to do something with that. I'd love to do more about the science. I mean, Ellie, who is our director of collection, is incredible. She is a Royal Society of Chemistry winner, and she does iconic stuff. And so actually I'd like to do something with the science and really tell that story. Some of the stuff Pip's done with the virtual reality, I'd love to bring that back in. So I think there's a whole world of storytelling. And then there's a bit about Portsmouth and what it was like to be in Tudor Portsmouth. There's a Disney Plus series called Shard Lake. You should watch it because I'm a bit worried they're not going to make series 2. So everyone watch it like 10 times. But and book 4 or book 5, Heartstone, which in the series, brings Portsmouth to life better than I've ever heard. And so for me, I'd like to try and, when you come into the museum after 1545, recreate Tudor Portsmouth and give people the sense of what it was like to be part of that. I mean, it looks like it does today. You can see Southsea Castle, you can see quite a lot of the landmarks and stuff. So
it's quite incredible.
Yeah.
Actually, one of them, when I worked at the King's Theatre, when we used to do the guided tours, some of the tour guides used to have these smells in boxes, and some of these smells were horrendous. And it was like, this is what Victorians used to smell like, and it was just like pure cheesy feet. This is what the ropes would smell like backstage. This is what the bars would smell like, because people could smoke in the bars. And it gave you that sense of, right, I want you to walk in this room, but close your eyes. This is what it smelled like coming back to the theatre. Smell
is so powerful. You can actually smell the rope, right? So when you're walking around the Mary Rose with our volunteers on the handling table, and you can smell the tar on the rope at the Mary Rose. And a funny story, although it wasn't funny at the time, was that when we did put the Dive of the Mary Rose 4D in, we wanted the smell of the ocean. And so we got Ocean Breeze. And I was really excited. And I was sat there thinking, this is going to be good, Ocean Breeze. And it smelled like Daz Ocean Breeze washing. So it was awful. So we can't actually show it in the theatre because everyone's thinking, where's Shane Ritchie doing the whitewash challenge? But so that didn't work. So, but yeah, you get wins and loses with them.
Incredible. Okay, so I mean, you've talked about how many items have been discovered. How often are people diving to go find more artefacts? I mean, surely it's an impossible job to finish, right? It's just always going to go on.
It will. It could, one, with research and the science, and two, with what when the carriers came in, we got some money to do some more before the dredging happened, to do some more dives, and the stem post was found, the ship's badge, which is on the ship there, which is a rose and a piece of wood. It's the figurehead, often with ships you have someone at the figurehead at the front. Well, we had a Tudor rose, which is incredible, and that was found I think in 2005. So things are still being found. Even Ross Kemp found something on his diving program. That wasn't a setup, he genuinely did. So stuff is always being found and recovered. We're also making sure that the wreck site is safe and that stuff doesn't sort of get ruined. So so it is ongoing, and the storytelling is ongoing, because as science continues, there's more we can do.
Do you ever see yourself doing a bit of a dive?
Well, I have dived the Mary Rose 4D, but no, I wish I was. I wish I could dive. Maybe I should. Maybe that's an aim for the future. But yeah, that would be good.
So, I mean, that'd be quite cool saying that you found. I mean, you might find the best thing.
I could do. Although, what is the best thing? I mean, there's so many things. This is the thing. It is an incredible collection. You've got rosary beads, right? Rosary beads where Catholics would use them to pray. But King Henry VIII, if you know your history, he had a few wives, he got rid of a few. But when he went to marry Anne Boleyn, he got rid of the Catholic Church, created the Church of England. So you probably shouldn't have been praying in the Catholic way. Yet we found them on the ship. I love that.
I mean, imagine the story behind those.
Yeah.
Who were those people that did that, and the families, and I mean, it's amazing. I want to talk about Portsmouth as a city now and all the different attractions that there are here, apart from the Mary Rose. If somebody's coming to Portsmouth, or they're not quite sure whether to come down and they don't know what to do, from the outsider's perspective, what should people do?
If you've not been to Portsmouth, you are missing out. Portsmouth is the best city ever. I think sometimes it's Britain's best kept secret, because when people come here, they never leave. And there's so much you can do. And it is an island city, which is also connected up with lots of different villages. So there's so much you can do, and so much history. From the South Sea, Castle, all the way along, to Canule, all the way to Gunwharf Quays, or the Dockyard, or the various museums. And, the football club, Fratton Park. I mean, there's so much. This city is incredibly special, and I think, if I'm honest with you, once you've been part of Portsmouth, it never leaves you. Portsmouth's part of my story. We go to 2 pantomimes. It's got 4 pantomimes. I'd love to go to all 4, but I go to 2 pantomimes every year. You can be 1 minute, you can be in Guildhall listening to a live orchestra in this outside doing,
that was incredible, by the way,
doing the movie, right? Movie themes.
That's
to the
incredible.
Next minute, you could be looking at dinosaurs, or you could be going to Aspects Art Gallery, which is the best art gallery to go to. They've currently got a Mary Rose exhibition based on our Anchored in the Community work, which is brilliant, and some really good stuff with Thomas Buckley. But you've got that to be going, just to the street art when you're walking around, or to the Victorious. There's so much you can do.
And then We Shine Festival.
We Shine.
So much.
I love it. Look up. This is a city that is always evolving. There's always something different. So keep coming back, and bring your friends, and spend your money, and take your litter home, please.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, you don't leave your litter.
I had about 20 questions from the Joe public on social media for you. They're quite random, but I think they're quite good. They're quite good questions, so I'm going to put them to you.
Right.
There's 7 in total. Susan's asked, what was the most surprising thing they found or found out following the recovery of the Mary Rose?
That is a great question, Susan. I think for me, the biggest surprising thing was the diversity of the crew, and how out of 6 skeletons, we had a Venetian, a Spanish, 2 North Africans, second generation. Who knew? I mean, we had to change our displays in the museum. It's brilliant. And I love that. And I love that the secrets are still being unveiled. Yeah. So, Susan, who knows what's next? I love that question.
I mean, that's never going to
She should come and visit. Yeah.
I hope she has.
If not, tell her to get in touch and we'll sort of tickets. Susan, you're coming.
You're going to get so many Susans contact you now, aren't you? Luke has asked, what item salvaged from the Mary Rose wreckage has made you feel the most emotion?
Oh,
that's tough.
That's a tough one. So with the kids, it's always the dog. Hatch the dog. 500 people on board the ship. Only 35 survived. It does sort of really hit you. But the kids, when they see Hatch, that's what gets them. I mean, Hatch is incredible, right? It's an incredible dog. It's a rat catcher. It's the only dog to have won the Dead Dog category in Crufts. It was also the only entrant. Wow. But I guess for me, it's the anti-boarding netting. So there's a bit where you come in the first gallery, the Cowdrey Gallery, and round the side you've got the anti-boarding netting, and there's only some of it. And where it's not there, we put perspex to show what it was like. But for me, that symbolises the fact that so many people lost their lives because in those days you didn't want to sink a ship. What you wanted to do was take the ship, repurpose it and use it. It was steal a ship and then use it as your own. So that was to stop the French from sort of coming on the ship and taking over the ship. And it also then meant that those poor sailors died straight away. And it always... We've got a tomb of an unknown sailor at the Portsmouth Cathedral, a great place to visit.
So you go every year as well?
We go every year, we lay a rose, and we lay a rose in dedication to the crew and to all of those that lost their lives, as well as anyone from the Mary Rose Trust that has no longer with us over the last year. But that anti-boarding netting always does get to me. And actually, in the Aspects Gallery, Thomas Buckley's cohort of recent work, someone's put a piece of netting with lights and shadows, and that got to me the same way. It's really emotional when you think that people were trapped and they died, and that's why our museum has to be dedication to their lives, and it has to be authentic, because otherwise we're not telling their story properly.
But also you're always adding to it, constantly adding to it, which is absolutely incredible. Okay, so this one is from Katie. As a single mum of 6 kids, I really want them to experience the Mary Rose / the historic Dockyard, but for a large family it can be very expensive. Are there any family plans or times of the year you release cheaper tickets or discounted rates?
Katie, right?
Yeah.
Katie, you're absolutely right. It's important to make sure that all of our attractions are affordable. We've actually dropped our price this summer. It has been the biggest price drop we've ever done for the whole of Portsmouth Historic Dockyard, over 20%. I think it's the cheapest family ticket we've had, at least since I've been here. We also, from time to time, do loyal and local offers for PO, and I'm sorry to say this, NSO residents. I knew that would be bad. I mean, especially after your Spinnaker red and white bit. But so we do that from time to time. Also, if you've got a Portsmouth leisure card, you can come in and get 50% off.
Wow.
And we do lots of other things like blue light discount, Tesco discounts, and there are other ways. But we want to make this place affordable for families. We love families, and the 4D is so suitable. But we have just dropped the prices, and we dropped them a few weeks ago, and it is the best family offer we've ever done, because it's really important that we're an affordable museum.
I think the best way as well to keep in touch to anyone who's watching is follow on social media, sign up to newsletters, and because when these offers do drop, you'll be the first one to know.
Absolutely. So, when Portsmouth Football Club got promoted, we had an offer then. It went through the roof. You promoted it. It was brilliant. It was going well. Then you went live and it went through the roof. Had to put it down. We were going to go bust.
Well, there we go. Brilliant. And hopefully, Katie, you'll be able to come down with your kids.
Get in touch, Kaylee. We'll sort your tickets.
This one is from Admiral Lord Nelson School History Club.
Love them.
I didn't even know that existed. But okay, so this is quite naughty actually. For a history club, this is a very naughty question. If you could steal one object from the Mary Rose home for yourself, what would it be and why?
Oh, that is a great question. I would never steal anything. There is an artefact that is in someone's house that is not here, and it is in His Majesty the King's house in Highgrove.
Thief.
And he rescued it himself. He dived 10 times. He was incredible.
10 times?
Yeah, 10 times. I mean, when he was then Prince of Wales, he was amazing. Like, he dived, he helped rescue pieces, and he encouraged, when there was a really bad storm, he encouraged everyone to do the right thing and pull together to raise the Mary Rose. He honestly, it'd make a great Netflix movie. He was brilliant. But I think what I would, if I could take an artefact, I would probably, there's a poster that's got my kids on. I'd probably take that, which is a bit cheating, but because I love my kids.
That's a good answer.
So yeah.
Okay, naughty question by a history club.
Guys, don't steal history.
Admiral Lord Nelson School.
Yeah.
Dylan has asked, what's the one story about the Mary Rose that always blows other people's minds but isn't as well known?
Oh, well, there's so many stories. We've probably told some of them today. But one story that blows my mind is, for a long time, the actor Robert Hardy was a trustee, and he worked on the Tudor longbows. So for a long time, there was only maybe one or two Tudor longbows in existence in the UK. There's now hundreds, thanks to the Mary Rose. And he went on to be the Minister of Magic in Harry Potter, so Cornelius Fudge, if you watch Harry Potter. Or if you're slightly older, he was in All Creatures Great and Small. But and I love that when I went to the Warner Brothers Harry Potter experience with my kids, at the end, they've got wands of all the actors are in there. And his wand was there, and I mentioned it to a volunteer, and they said, "Did you know he was involved with raising the Mary Rose?" And I was like, "I did, but tell me more." And I love that. So I love the fact that the Mary Rose story has touched so many people. It's a bit of a cheat answer, but I think I've answered some of the other stories elsewhere. But it's cool, right? Harry Potter, magic, Mary Rose, Portsmouth. What a story, what a place.
So I didn't know that, but now if I ever watch it and I see him pop up on the screen, that's the first thing I'm going to think of.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Without him, we wouldn't have the ones. And actually, if you do 1545 and you recognise the voice that you hear, spoiler alert, it's Judi Dench. We were able to get Judi Dench to do that because of her friendship with Robert Hardy. So he keeps giving. He's incredible.
Amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Good question there. Kath is asking, what's the strangest or funniest question a visitor has ever asked you about the Mary Rose?
Well, I am not going to say who this person was because they are a well-known political figure. But I was once standing outside the Mary Rose waiting for them to arrive, as you do on visits of various different politicians. And they said, "Oh, so this is the Mary Rose. So what was this involved in? Was this involved?" And didn't understand anything about it. So I decided to have some fun with them, which I probably shouldn't have done. So probably that's a bad example. Did you make up some stuff? I made up a few things. But yeah, so that was fun. But in the end, actually, they were really nice and really helpful. So I told them the truth. And so it was Henry VIII's warship, survived 5.5 of his wives, and the same stuff that we've been talking about.
Wow, I'm really surprised somebody would have come down and...
Not known, yeah. They wanted a photo with Hatch. We made that happen.
Okay, well, we won't talk about who that is. Maybe you'll tell me later. Portsmouth Football Club, Historical Society.
Love those guys. I've done a tour, by the way. Have you done their tour?
No, I haven't.
They do a tour. They do an amazing tour.
They do a Sunday lunch as well after the tour.
I've not been invited to the Sunday lunch. What? I came on the tour, I didn't get the lunch. Their tour is incredible. But I didn't get the lunch. Are you getting the lunch?
No, I've not been. I've only just seen it recently advertised.
So good. They bring history to life. Honestly, if you've not done that tour, do that tour.
I need to definitely do it. But they've got a good question here. If Henry VIII could see the Mary Rose today, what do you think he'd say? And also an add-on question. And more importantly, what size football top do you think he'd be?
That is a great question. So, I think... To answer that, we've got to talk about the connection of Portsmouth and the Mary Rose, right? So Mary Rose is Portsmouth's Mary Rose. Mary Rose was built here in Portsmouth. It was built actually where the Victory is. It was crewed by people from Portsmouth, and it defended Portsmouth in the biggest battle this country is at, the biggest invasion this country's ever seen off, the Battle of the Solent, defeated the French, and then was sank here in Portsmouth. It was then lost in Portsmouth with so many people trying to find it. The Tudors tried to find it in Portsmouth with Jacques Francois. It was then lost again in Portsmouth. It was then found again in Portsmouth. And there were Mary Rose Mania, where parts of wood and books and walking canes were sold, and we're still getting them coming into the collection. It was then lost again for so many years in Portsmouth. It was then found again by Alexander McKee in Portsmouth in 1971. It was then raised in 1982 to the biggest TV audience, the first ever live underwater broadcast here in Portsmouth, watched by over 60 million people around the world from Portsmouth, only beaten by Charles and Diana's wedding. This was incredible here in Portsmouth. It was then returned to the Dockyard and shared to the world in Portsmouth, opened up in the Mary Rose Museum here in Portsmouth, so it's Portsmouth's Mary Rose. It is very much part of Portsmouth. Henry VIII, I think, would have been so proud of what we've done today at Portsmouth's Mary Rose. And in terms of his size, we've actually got a life-size replica of Henry VIII. And a while ago, Portsmouth Football Club gave us a top, and I can tell you he is a 3XL. 3XL. Oh. Unlike me, who's a 2XL. I need to get a Portsmouth Football Club top at some point. But yeah.
Surely we can get a picture made of Henry VIII in a Pompey kit.
We could probably do that, definitely. In fact, we might have one. Yeah, I think you might have one. We could do that.
Oh, we could do that. We could do that.
And actually, a long time ago, Portsmouth had Mary Rose as a mascot, as well as...
remember, yeah.
And it'd be great to get her back. So let's have a campaign to get Mary Rose back for Portsmouth ladies. Let's do it. Let's start that campaign now. Bring Mary Rose, the mascot, back.
For Portsmouth ladies, I love that.
Let's do it.
Why did it ever go?
I don't know why it went, but let's not worry about the past, apart from when it comes to Mary Rose, because the past is important. But let's worry about the future and bring Mary Rose back.
Dom, it has been an absolute pleasure. I think we could have kept this going for hours.
I've loved it.
To be honest. Thank you so much.
You too.
And if you had to pick the next place I have to go to, where would it be for the next episode?
Oh, that is a good one. There's so many great places to go. Have you been... you've done the Model Village.
Yeah.
You've done Spinnaker Tower.
Portchester Castle, that episode's yet to be released, but that's
Portsmouth
coming
Castle,
soon.
love that. I actually think you should go old school and go to Portsmouth Museum. Portsmouth Museum is incredible. More people need to go there. It's such a fantastic, it's free, and the breadth of the collection, Kathy and the team are so good. You should do that. I would love to watch that episode.
Well, it's going to happen. Portsmouth Museum. Kathy, get ready for that
Get
email.
ready, Kathy.